If I had known these 4 things before I started algorithmic trading, it would have saved me years in my Forex trading journey. I'm going to outline the 4 different paths you can take as an algorithmic trader. Hey, I am Lisa, a full-time algorithmic trader with a live public track record on DarwinX Gold. And while I'm really happy with where I am in my own Forex trading journey, it was a long, slow, and a painful path to get here. And I've tried many different things, and only one of them has worked for me and my trading style. So in today's video, I want to show you the other paths that are possible so you can choose the one that's right for you, because my path might not be what you want. So for each option, I'm going to cover cost, time, skill, effort, and psychology for the initial part of the journey, and after a few years, what these will also look like. So at a high level, we are going to look at the robot rat race, optimization, coding, and EA generation. First of all, we've got what I call the robot rat race, the first option for algorithmic traders. Here, you're buying commercial robots from either the internet or from MQL4 or directly from the vendor themselves, and you're making decisions based on their track record, performing analysis on the profits, drawdown, currency pair, and cost, most likely from my FX book results. First of all is cost, and I'm going to rank everything from 0, which is no cost, to 5, which is high cost. And for this particular scenario of the robot rat race, the cost is at the highest at 5, because there is not just one robot that is going to solve all your problems. To get a truly diversified portfolio and good consistent results, you want a variety of robots. I'm talking about 10, 20, 30 robots. And each robot costs between a few $100s to a few $1,000s. That is why this has a rating of 5. On top of the robot costs is the cost of a VPS as well, because you're unlikely running it on for one local machine. To have a stability in internet and electricity, you will want to run them on VPSs. I personally have about 6 VPSs. They cost about $30 a month. So you add that $30 over 6 VPSs over a year, that's going to add up quite a lot. Next, we've got time. How much time is required managing these 20, 30 robots? And I have ranked this at 4 out of 5 because it's not exactly set and forget these robots, because they are commercial expert advisors. They have licensing restrictions every time there's a software update, and you do need to keep on top of these software updates. Then you do need to again upgrade all your software across all your different providers and vendors, and it makes it quite a lot of time commitment managing and tracking them every single day. Next, do you need skills in order to work most of these robots? And I have not put this as a 1, I've actually put this as a 2, because even though a lot of these expert advisors are plug and play, most of them are plug and play, which means you just grab them and then normally the vendor will provide set files for you. So you grab those set files, or the default settings normally work. You just put them on and let them do the thing. But the reason I have put the skill at a 2, because you do need certain skills in order to determine if a robot is good. So you need to understand, when you're looking at my FX book results, is this manipulated? Are the drawdowns trustworthy? Is this a high risk robot? Is this a low risk robot? This robot has a low win rate. Is that something I want to go with? So you do need skills in order to analyze my FX book or FX Blue results. Next, we've got effort. Now, I'm going to rank this as 4 out of 5 because it still requires a lot of time to manage and track all these robots, which I've already covered in the time component. Last, we've got a psychology. Now, this is my own personal opinion, but I feel that using these commercial black box robots is out of a fear-based psychology, because we don't know how the robots behave. We don't know what kind of market it works in, what kind of market it fails in. So it's always unknown, like when is this robot going to stop working, especially with the low risk ones, like when do we decide to take it off, what are the rules? So that's why I've got it rated as low for psychology for the robot rat race. Let's fast forward a few years. So pretend that you've been using this system of the robot rat race for a few years. You're starting to see some success with it. After a few years, what is the rating of cost, time, skill, effort, and psychology? Now, cost, time, and effort remain the same because you are still always looking for the next shiny object, always looking for the next robot. So you're always buying new things. The cost remains the same. Time, you're still testing new robots, even though, yes, you have some robots that are working. You're still looking for new robots, still managing it from a licensing perspective, managing all your VPSs, and effort is exactly the same as well. The only thing that actually has improved is your psychology. So now with more experience, your psychology, which was at a low point, now is at a medium point. You have developed your own systems and processes to decide when to take a robot that has stopped working off. So overall, I personally am not a fan of this system. I have used the robot rat race system for about 2 years now. I am totally off these commercial robots, but I know other people that use it and they are full-time traders as well. So even though for me personally there are too many cons, especially from the psychology side, it does work for some people. The second option we are looking at is optimizations. That is when you buy a white box expert advisor, and white box basically means you know exactly how the entries work, exactly how the exit works. Every single setting is explained in detail in the user manual. And then you go and proceed to optimize it, finding the right currencies, finding the right settings, the right time frame that fits this particular robot. And generally these robots, for example, the expert advisor ones, they don't really work straight out of the box. You have to use your optimization skills in order to find settings that work. The cost for this system, I've ranked it at 2 out of 5 because you don't just want one robot. You want ideally 2 or 3 because you want to be covered all across different scenarios. You want a training robot, you want a range-bound robot, and ideally when you pick your robot, for example, the ones provided by Expert Forex, you want something that has multiple licenses, because if you wanted to trade this on multiple currencies, multiple brokers, multiple time frames, you want to be diversified and not be stuck just to one account. For time, I've ranked this as a 3 out of 5 because with optimizations, it's not something that happens straight away. You grab the expert advisor, you choose a few settings, and then you optimize 2 or 3 settings. And that might take, even on a powerful PC, a few days. And that's for 2 or 3 settings. So you need to replicate that over multiple settings, which is why it might take weeks for you to backtest and optimize every single setting that is important in the expert advisor. With skills, I've ranked it 4 out of 5 because you can't just grab and optimize a couple of settings and then pick the best ones. That's when you get over-optimized results. So you do need to understand what you're doing, pick the medium range out of a wide variety of different results, and understand in which scenario that those specific settings work. For effort, I've marked this 4 out of 5 because even though most of the time the machine is operating and working on its own, doing optimizations for you, analyzing those results from MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5 still requires a lot of effort. And each time you do the optimizations, you're not just optimizing like 30 different scenarios at one time. You only want to pick 2 or 3 different settings to optimize. So every time you have to come back, analyze the results. Okay, so this is the results going to pick the next set of settings that you want to do. So it's a continuous cycle, looping through and finding the best results. And then you have to do that again for a totally different currency for a totally different time frame. The main reason I personally chose not to go down this path myself is because of psychology, the low psychology, because there is a massive risk here that what you do in terms of optimization and the back-tested results looks fantastic. In forward live trading, it could totally suck. And another reason why I chose not to go down this path, because when you look online, there's no real evidence anywhere that I can find of someone that says, okay, I optimized this and this was the optimization results. Here is the live testing results. I couldn't find anywhere of that online. So in terms of low psychology, for me, that was why I scrapped this idea to pursue. Let's fast forward a few years' time. So you've been optimizing these robots for a while now across different currencies, across the different time frames. What does these different rankings look like? So for cost, I've got it set to 0 because you already bought your robots a while ago and you've got your system in place. So cost is 0. For time and effort, I have reduced them by 1. So time is now 2 and effort is now 3 because you have experience. So now you know these robots really well. You know that you don't need to optimize every single setting. You only know that the most important settings are these ones. So every time you do a re-optimization to meet the current market conditions, you don't do everything. You only do a subset of them because you have mastered your craft. Lastly, from a psychology perspective, you have gone from a low psychology because you didn't know that your system worked. Now you have a high psychology, high confidence because of your skills, and now you know how to optimize correctly. Coding up your own expert advisors. I am a coder myself. I can code in both MQL4 and MQL5, though I'm not the best programmer around. And I did start my Forex trading journey trying to code up my own expert advisors, but it is not something that I would recommend to brand new traders who are brand new to Forex algorithmic trading because it actually requires a very, very high level of skill. And I am going to group time, skill, and effort all together at the 5, the highest rating, because you need to have a high level of optimization skills, you need to have a high level of coding skills, and you need to already be a good trader because you need to understand concepts like if I want to do range bound trading, I need to have an oscillator. If I want to do trend bound trading, then I want to have a filter like ADX. So if you're brand new to all this, you don't know how to code, you don't know how to optimize, and you're not a trader, it is almost impossible for you to succeed and come in expecting you to have a level 5 skill in these 3 different areas. So from a psychology perspective, I'm going to rate this as low because whatever you build, the first program you build is probably going to really suck. The one good thing about coding your own systems is that it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to buy any expert advisors. You can learn for free with all the videos and the content online, so cost is 0. Fast forward a few years where you've been coding and developing and deployed a few expert advisors to go live, your cost again still remains at 0. Your time, before we had time at 5, but it's unlikely that any programmer will just develop something and then leave it and not develop forever. So I've reduced time from 5 to 4, and effort has gone down to 3 because you have already developed some programs. So a lot of the code you will be able to reuse, especially the code that talks about opening a trade, closing a trade, monitoring your trades. All that is reusable code. Lastly, from a psychology perspective, you've gone down from a low up to a high because now you are confident in your own abilities, you have all the skills required, and you're seeing a very, very good result in your own trading. Using software to generate expert advisors. With this path, you are choosing to generate your own expert advisors using a tool like Express Generator, EA Studio, or Strategy Quant. What this software does is you click a button, it starts generating random strategies for you for MT4 and MT5, and all you have to do is configure it and use your optimization skills to pick the best strategies and use it for your live trading. In terms of cost, these are rather expensive software. Generally, I've ranked it 3 out of 5. They normally cost between $3,000 to $5,000, but it is a one-time cost, and afterwards you can use it forever. In terms of time, I've ranked it 5 out of 5 because it takes a lot of time to master the software, which is generally pretty complex. So it took me about 6 months to get the hang of EA Studio and Express Generator, and then another 6 months to develop my own systems into a point where I was seeing consistent results. For skills, I've ranked this 4 out of 5, only because you don't need to have programming skills generally to use these systems, and while programming skills will help benefit, still these software is generally quite complex, and for you to be able to understand them, find ways to avoid curve fitting and overfitting, that requires a high level of skill. For effort, I have ranked this 5 out of 5 because it did take me a full year to master Expert Advisor Studio and Express Generator. And in terms of psychology, I'm going to rank this as low initially because the biggest risk with these systems is over optimizations. And when you first start off, you're still developing and tweaking your system. You don't know if what you've developed is going to survive in the real trading world. And a lot of the times, people's accounts just tank in live trading. Fast forward a few years, you've been using this software, you're seeing consistent results. What are the ratings now? Now, this is where I am personally on my own journey, and I feel I am approaching this bit. So cost is 0 because all the cost is upfront. Now, ongoing to use this software, it doesn't cost me anything. Time and effort. Originally it was at 5, but now after a few years it is down at 1. For my own personal systems, I spend 1 hour a week generating my expert advisors and then putting them onto my live account. And that's all I do. Lastly, psychology. It originally started off low because we didn't have confidence in what we're building is over optimized, but after a few years it has changed to a high confidence. Here is a quick summary of everything we've discussed so far. We've got the robot rat race, optimizations, coding, and EAX generation across cost, time, skill, effort, and psychology across when you first start off, and then after a few years once you've mastered your craft. I genuinely hope that this chart right here helps you in making your own decisions. For me personally, I went down the EA generation option. This is the path I have chosen because I am ultimately lazy, and whatever effort I put in now, I want that effort to benefit me in years to come. So later on, I want it to get easier and easier for me. And I encourage everyone to make a decision based on what suits you best. Look at the costs, the time commitment, the skills that you need, and the amount of effort you are willing to put in. And then after all that, if you want to go down the expert advisor generation path like I have, you can either purchase EA Studio, Express Generator, or Strategy Quant because they all sort of do the same thing. It took me about 1 year to really start to get the hang of Express Generator and Expert Advisor Studio, and then that's when I started to see consistent profits. If you want to do that yourself, I think that is a fantastic idea, but if you don't have the time, the skills, or willingness to put the effort in and you want to benefit from all my experience, then I do run my own membership community where I share the robots that I create every single week for my own live trading and for my members as well. I do have built into my own system a process for continuous improvement, so I get better and better every single year. And if you want to hear more about that, then watch this video right here where I go deep into the nitty-gritty details. Thanks for watching. Bye.